welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and on today's program, we got some injury updates after another practice day where certain someone didn't throw the football. Also, PFF absolutely disrespecting our boy Sting. I'll tell you why. They are a bunch of idiots over there at PFF for their latest cornerback rankings. And did the Texans make a low-key great pick that everybody, even me, was hating on after Nick Caserio put in the card? That's going to be on the back half of today's program. But let's start off with the injury updates. And this was Demeco Ryans today on Stroud continually not throwing the football. He said, no concerns, just general soreness. We're taking extra precaution with them, and, he'll be good to go. Like, no worries, nothing crazy, right? A lot of media heads are hitting the panic button. A lot of people are freaking out. Trey Wingo just posted on X, Texans fans should be worried. Rich Eisen was saying, yeah, Texans fans, this is not a good sign for CJ Stroud because, when's the last time he was throwing the football? When's the last time he was out there? Right? It was in January. So should we be worried? Where are we at? I'm going to leave that up to y'all folks at home. Let me know down in the comments section one word to describe your level of concern about CJ Stroud. Give it to me in the comments section. Let me know. Are you worried? Are you not? Let me know down in the comment section if you get hit with the YouTube ad break here. All good. Scroll on down and give me your answer. Honestly, I'm not that worried. I'm not that worried about CJ Stroud. And like I said, I don't think Texans fans should be either. I said it the other day, CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon, these guys who are superstars, this is the time when you want them to miss. You want them to be able to rehab and make sure they're good to go. This isn't me reporting on fact, but I believe CJ Stroud towards the end of the year, yeah, he probably had that shoulder soreness. He probably a little bit banged up after taking some shots up against the Baltimore Ravens. And if he's able to just go out there right now, take everything in mentally, and make sure his shoulder is 100%, make sure he's as close to 100% physically and, mentally, health-wise at the start of the season, that's what I want for the Texans. So I'm not too worried right now. Now, if we get to training camp and there's any fugazi, if there's any funny business, oh, yeah, CJ Stroud, he's not throwing during training camp, I'll start to hit the panic button a little bit. I'll be worried. But talking about June right now, right? We're not playing football till August. So at this moment, I'm okay. But if it continues, if we see CJ Stroud not throwing at the start of training camp, my worry level skyrockets at that point. We got some more injury news as well around Christian Harris, where he will be good for training camp. And I put quotations in there because it seemed like all of last season, Christian Harris was good to return, but little complications here, a little setback here, and the date where he was going to return just kept getting pushed back and back and back. So supposedly Christian Harris will be good for training camp, which is good news for the Texans because as we look at the Texans linebacker depth chart, Azeez Al-Shaair, undoubtedly your linebacker number one, your top guy. Henry Toto stepped in admirably last year, and you signed E.J. Speed in free agency. So I like the fact that the Texans have a multitude of guys, and we also have to remember the Texans, in most instances, which maybe I should change my graphic around a little bit, run mostly a 4-2-5. They love running out of that, nickel set where they have Jaylin Petrie as, somewhat of a sub-linebacker there in that nickel star role. But having Christian Harris on the field is definitely a game changer. He was really good in 2023 during that playoff run where he had that interception off Joe Flacco in the divisional round up against the Browns. And he does bring something, a little bit of toughness, a little bit of that grit that the Texans like on their defensive side. So I'd like to see Christian Harris out there. Will he be out there at the start of training camp? You believe what Demeco Ryans says? Yeah, he should be good to go. But the Texans have been somewhat murky in their, reporting of a lot of these Texans players' injuries over the past couple of seasons. Another guy on the injury report, I would say injury report, it's OTA, so there's not an injury report, but was injured the first couple of practices, was back out there today, Dalton Schultz, who, not in a contract year, but at the end of this season, the Texans can save a buttload of cash if they decide to move on from Schultz. So, in essence, in somewhat of a contract year with the Houston Texans, as he has not rookie anymore, second-year guy Cade Stover breathing down his neck. Also, the Texans re-signed Brevin Jordan. They drafted Luke Lachey in the 7th round. So, Dalton Schultz, him being back out there, good, and I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he absolutely has a bounce back year, and the Texans have to consider whether or not they're going to move on from Schultz at the end of the year. But this is a big year for Schultz in his career, and you can see it by the fact that he's already trying to get back out there. Even though he might be dealing with injuries, he wants as many reps as he can in this new Nick Caley offense before the start of the 2025 season. Coming up, awful CB rankings by PFF, and it is just horrendous, the list that they put out there. I'm going to break down why. This is their top 5 cornerbacks in the NFL according to PFF. From this past season going into next year, these are their top 5 guys. They have Sauce Gardner at 1, Pat Surtain 2, Trent McDuffie 3, Jaylin Johnson 4, and Derek Stingley at 5. I'm not going to sit here and be like, Derek Stingley, if he's not 1, this is the worst list ever. Because you know what? I'll even budge this, and Broncos fan Sam Brown is producing in the background right now. If the list doesn't have Pat Surtain or Derek Stingley at 1, your list is shit. You have a shitty list. Those are undoubtedly the top 2 cornerbacks in the NFL. If it's not Pat Surtain, it's Derek Stingley. If it's not Derek Stingley, it's Pat Surtain. Nobody else. End of list. Full stop. Right there. It's either Stingley or it's Surtain. And you're like, Jeremy, what do you mean? Sauce is so good. Is he? These are his 2024 stats compared to Stingley. Tell me where he's better. Less tackles, less pass breakups, less interceptions, worse completion percentage when targeted, worse QB rating when targeted. Where is he better? I swear, no shade, no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade, none of that against Sauce Gardner, because he is a good player. But if his name was Jeff, if it was Jeff Gardner, he would not be the number 1 ranked cornerback by PFF. It's simple as that. They are in a trance because they're like, dude, Sauce is such a cool name, man. Sauce is awesome. But he's not the best corner. Just because he's a cool guy, just because he has a cool name, doesn't mean he's the top cornerback in the league. Derek Stingley, Pat Surtain, 1 and 2. Doesn't matter the order, but it's one of those 2 guys. It's not Sauce Gardner. I'm sick of this narrative that Sauce Gardner is the best cornerback in the league. He's good. Probably a top 10 corner, if you ask me. You know, maybe edge of top 5 right there. But I would say Jaylin Johnson's better than him. Nice, Sam. I would say that Trent McDuffie's better than him. I would not have Sauce Gardner at number 1. Now, PFF, they listed the top 32 corners, thankfully, and I was going to get really mad if Kamari Lassiter wasn't on this list. He barely made it. He was 31. He was ranked number 31 by PFF, barely made the list, but he's still on there, and deservedly so. I think he got kind of snubbed behind the Eagles' magic of, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They were really good. If you ask me, the best rookie corner from last year, he was wearing number 4 for your Houston Texans, and his name is Kamari Lassiter. And he's out to prove it again. He's been a dog at OTAs, and he's been putting in that extra work. A lot of reports and a lot of videos of him on the sideline working with Nico Collins one-on-one, kind of like Nico was doing with Stephon Diggs last year, where he's trying to get better. He's trying to get to that next level. So I really think the Texans with Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley, they have a special duo out there on the defensive side. And personally, I think they're the best cornerback duo in the NFL. Let me know if you agree with me. Give me a yes, give me a no in the comment section. I should see 100 yeses, 400 yeses down in the comment section, because they are the best cornerback duo in the NFL. Producer Sam Brown is shaking his head. Maybe he thinks it's the Denver Broncos. But I would say with both of those guys, with Stingley, you add Kamari Lassiter, I think that's the best duo in the NFL. Now, coming up, a low-key great pick by Nick Caserio. We've talked about this draft ad nauseum, but after recent events, does one of his picks look even better now? I'll break down that in just a moment, but summertime, and I know we're all trying to save those dollar bills. So if you want to get some Texans gear, if you want to get it on the low, go to chatsports.com/Texans sale. All these items are on sale now. Some of them might get sold out because there's a reason why they're on sale, right? They have a limited quantity. They're trying to get rid of it. And lucky for you, they're at great prices. So if you want to go check them out before they sell out, go to chatsports.com/Texans sale. That link will be in the comment section and description of today's video. Why not go just window shop? Go check it out after this video is done. Go click that link right here, chatsports.com/Texans sale, and get yourself some cool new Texans gear for the summertime as we get into our last story of today's program. Jaylin Smith, the Texans' 3rd-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Could he have a much bigger role coming into this season. It came to a shock to most Texans fans when he was selected, but maybe shouldn't have come as a huge shock because Texans rookie Jaylin Bullock was at his draft party. They were, friends, teammates at USC. Should it have come as that big of a shock? Maybe not. And I think he will definitely be in line for a bigger role now that Ronald Darby has announced his retirement. Was set to be the, cornerback 3, the guy right behind Stingley, right behind Kamari Lassiter if one of those guys went down. He's not in the equation anymore. He decided to retire. So that means Jaylin Smith could step up to the plate. Here are his 2024 PFF coverage stats. 26 of 42 when targeted, 289 yards, 0 touchdowns allowed, a 3 pass breakup to 2 interceptions, and a QB rating when targeted of 62.5. And his grades last year were actually a huge upgrade to anything he had done in the past. The 2 years prior, he had an overall PFF grade in the 60s. This past year, 82.6. Coverage grade, 82.5. Run defense grade, which the Texans value a ton, 80.1. Man coverage grade of 83.9. He really showed out. And I know everybody was, at the time when he got drafted, what the hell are the Texans doing? He wasn't even on the board of what the guys they should have gotten. Come on, what are we doing? But I ask you this. How many of you were excited last year when the Texans drafted Kamari Lassiter? When you found out the Texans drafted a corner from Georgia who had a 4.6 40-yard dash? I can probably count on 2 hands the amount of Texans fans that were pumped that they selected Kamari Lassiter. So I'll say this. Let's see him in pads. Let's see how he does because the Texans so far have shown you they know how to evaluate guys in the secondary. And maybe Jaylin Smith is another guy who they just selected who not a lot of people are talking about, but is going to be a major impact player for the Texans for years to come. I will add this, though. It's not just going to be given to him. This from my guy, Stressens. Also wanted to throw him up because he just got to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So shout out to you, Garrett. Good work over there. He does a lot of great stuff on his end. But this coming from OTAs today, from Demeco Ryans' press conference on Ronald Darby's retirement. It's not an easy decision. I wish Darby the best. This is the part I want you to focus on. When it comes to us and how we fill the position, we'll look to add another corner, whether it's a veteran or a young player. So not coy, not shy about it at all that the Texans will look to add another cornerback in free agency. So expect later on in the week, I'm definitely going to give you a list of my top cornerback options for the Houston Texans to replace Ronald Darby, but maybe Jaylin Smith should be number 1 on that list. That's all I got for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do so at Jeremy Chuggs. And as always, if you made it to the very end of today's video, I must be doing something right. Hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and you get Texans news and rumors content all year long.